Hey guys, welcome to Punky's World. I need to roll you up. Whoops. There. This video is going to be fun. I wanted to tell you about a place that's special to me. It's always been special to me. There we go. When I was growing up, we would go to a place called Whalom Park. Now, in the thumbnail, I will put a picture of the old Whalom Park sign. Let me try to find it to show it to you. It was an amusement park in Lunenburg, Massachusetts. H-A-L-U-M-P-A-R-K. Images. W-H-A-L-O-M. Okay. And the commercial, here's the sign, had the giant whale on it. Why does that say Leominster? It was in Lunenburg. Anyway. Anyway, I'm trying to find the actual, yep, that's on the highway when you used to go there. Straight ahead, 3 miles. Trying to find the sign out of the front. I think the closest I'm going to get is what I showed you. It's the playground of central New England. Oh, surely was. And they're commercial. I think I'm safe playing it for you because there's nobody to L-O-M, Whalom Park, commercial. Because there's nobody to ding me with that, so let's listen.
Research shows that nostalgia can help you remember ads, so
that's an ad.
Customize and save.
Okay, there we go.
Whalom Park is for everyone. Amusement rides and water slides. Whalom Park is family size. Picnics and good times, prizes and shows. Whalom's got it. Come on, let's go. Race for the family, one of a kind. Whalom Park for a whale of a time.
And they used to play that on the radio too. When it was just about time for school to get out, they'd start playing that on the radio. Oh, I loved it. This is, oops. Oh, that's Riverside. Huh. I'm going to show you some other pictures. I've been on this ride. I don't know if I can find a picture of the boats or not, but they used to have these kiddie boats. You would sit in them and they were in water. You could actually reach down and touch water. But they were connected to the ride, but they floated in water, and it was so fun. And I remember being there a lot of times thinking about Sarah Pryor because she was from Wayland, Massachusetts. Wayland. I didn't know where the heck I was. I was a little kid. But it's in Lunenburg, which is, how many miles from me? Let me see. Lunenburg. Yes. It's an hour. I thought it was. No, I could get an exact if I put in the address to. Here's an animated picture of the park. It actually was not a small park. um, it really wasn't. There's a Whalom Park Historical Museum. Oh my gosh, look at that. And you see right, oh gosh, I'm on the wrong side. Right here, the bumper car. I rode in those with my dad. In fact, I rode in the blue one. It's probably the one I rode in. It's right here. Oops. Ah. This is hard to do, guys. Right here. This is the bumper car. That's wild. Oops. Oh, I can make it bigger. There it is. I rode in those bumper cars. I don't know where he got, how he came up with it, but oh, it's from the New Whalom Cooperative. Oh my goodness. This is an old flyer, an old fold out flyer from Whalom Park. Anyway, my memory's there. I remember one time going there, and of course I was young, and I saw, because they used to have, one of the things they used to have there was these carnival sideshows. And one of them was the world's biggest frogs. They were like gigantic frogs. And the posters and signs were all over the place. Mommy, Daddy, why can't I go see the big frogs? And my dad being, smart on things, nature, things, weather, he knew what these frogs were and where they were from. He said, yes. He said, I said to him, is that really true? Can they really get that big? And he said, they're from, I forget where he said, some jungle somewhere, or a rainforest. He said, but yes, they really are very large. I think my father's problem with it was that they were displaying these animals that didn't belong anywhere near here, truthfully. But as a little child, he couldn't really say to me, that he felt it was wrong, and I think that was what the issue was. It wasn't that it would scare me, and they never said it would scare me. They were very honest about the fact that these frogs do exist, but I don't think they wanted them on display, either one of them. So I think that's why. Looking back as an adult, looking through adult eyes, I get it. Oh my gosh, there's so much sunlight I can't see anything, and I don't know whether you can. I'm going to move you over here. That's better. I'm bright, but at least you can see me. Turn that slight. There we go. And I remember one time, because we used to, back when this was not frowned upon, we used to squeeze a whole bunch of us into Daddy's car. Daddy would drive. Mommy would sit in the front seat. Sometimes I would sit in between them in the front seat. Actually, I would usually sit in between them in the front seat because my uncle would be in the back seat with my cousins, all four of them, and Dennis being the youngest, although not necessarily the littlest, because I was the littlest, would sit on the floor on that bump in the back seat. Cars don't really have that bump anymore in the back seat for the most part, or it's much lower than it was then. Back then it was like a saddle, and he would sit on the bump. Let's see, Renee would sit Well, I remember one time we had Mom, Dad, and I in the front seat. In the back seat, we had Auntie Edie, Uncle David. Auntie Edie's not a small lady. Never been a small lady since I've known her. Auntie Edie, Uncle David, also a big man. Um, David and Dennis. Dennis sat on the bump. David sat on Auntie's lap, and it was Uncle David. And I don't remember if one of the girls was with us or not, but we used to squeeze us all into that car. And back then, you could do that. Today, you go down the highway with a bunch of kids squeezed into a car with a kid sitting on the bump and another kid sitting on a lap. Yeah, it just wasn't going to be okay today. You know, that would just would not would be that would not that not would be I could talk. That would not be acceptable. But back then nobody thought twice about it. Squeeze the family into the car and go. So that's what we did. And we had a blast. Of course, Dad and Uncle would run off and play golf. They'd find a miniature golf and make themselves scarce, you know? And then it was up to Mom and Auntie Edie to wrangle at least 3 kids, if not more. And I have a picture of my dad and I from there that is actually inside a snow globe. I remember that day. I got a picture with Dad and a picture with Mom. They had a photo booth with Polaroids. Instead of the old photo booth gave you a strip of black and white pictures, which I also have. I'm not digging those out. They're in a photo album at the top of a closet that I cannot access at the moment because there's an air conditioner in front of it. So, yeah. I might have a picture of it. Actually, I think I do have a picture of it in my Facebook. If you want to know the truth. Anyway, I know I have the one with Dad. So let's go over to me. Photos. Albums. It's going to be under either my pics or family. Here it is. This is the one with Auntie Edie and I from the old one with the strips. That's from Whalom Park. Look how young I was. My glasses. And hers are prescription glasses. They just used to darken. She was one of the first people I knew that had those. There now. Now you can see me at the bottom. Auntie never changed her expression. I had fun. But anyway, the day that I went with Mom and Dad that we got those pictures taken, we did very little because we didn't have a lot of money, but they still wanted to take me to Whalom Park that day. So we didn't have a lot of money for tickets for a lot of rides. So we did the merry-go-round, and this was inside merry-go-round room. I have one with my mom, too. I can't find it from the same day. I didn't wear my glasses that day. And I love that the date is on here. It says Dad and Angie, Whalom Park. July something 1985. Yeah, they had no money that day. They were determined to bring me. I don't know why, but I just remember being happy to be there and not really being disappointed that I couldn't do a lot that particular day. Because most days we stayed all day and we ate and we did all kinds of stuff. That particular day they had no money. They had just enough money to get in. You know, they were able to get in, and they explained that to me before we went. We were able to get in. We weren't able to do very many rides. Mom always liked the, what's it called? The strip down the middle where the games were. The Midway. And she was good at a lot of the games. She used to win me all kinds of stuff. had a bunch of posters of Michael Jackson that she won me. I had this big framed poster of Hulk Hogan. It was ginormous that she won me. I don't even know what the heck happened to that, honestly. Or the Michael Jackson ones. I had a Michael Jackson belt, in fact. It was red, and it was studded, and it had a picture of Michael Jackson, and I believe it said Thriller on the buckle. Everybody made fun of me for wearing it, but the fact of the matter is everybody liked Michael Jackson. So yeah, that was fun. In fact, that picture of my dad and I is actually that Whalom Park group actually has that picture, and I believe it's on their website as one of the Whalom Park pictures. It's funny, you look at the pictures there of the kids, and you go, sometimes you go, I know that kid, you know, or I think I know that kid, you know, but for us, that was our theme park. Yes, we had Riverside, which is now known as Six Flags, New England. And we had Canopy Lake Park, which was up in New Hampshire. And Rocky Point in Rhode Island. So we had several around here that you could choose from. And I've been to them all. But Whalom Park was my favorite. They had Kittyland, and I liked Kittyland. I think they all had a Kittyland. Oh, I remember one time there was a kids roller coaster at Whalom Park, and it was all green, and it was made to be this giant like millipede or something, some kind of caterpillar. And my cousin went on it, and I think I ended up going on it. And I do remember one of the roller coasters that I did go on, that I went on with my dad, when I was tall enough. Most of the rides I wasn't frankly tall enough to go on, because you know you have this thing you have to stand next to see if you're this tall. I was never this tall. My cousins both were, but hell, I think I'm still too short for some reason. Anyway, I kid you not. But my cousins were tall enough for all the rides I wasn't tall enough for. But one of the roller coasters, and I distinctly remember it. It wasn't a fast roller coaster. Like, it was fun for me as a kid. And I went on with my dad, so I wasn't scared. And I remember when you get to the top of the hill, you looked out, you could see the park, you could see Lake Whalom, because the park was on a lake. They also had a paddle boat that you could take rides on Lake Whalom. That was cool. I never got to do the water slides. My mother never would have allowed it. There's one ride I still want to ride that most of these places have, and it's called the Flume. Although I guess it goes by different names depending on the park you're in. Basically, it looks like a hollowed out wide log canoe with a seat in the front and a seat in the back of each car, and it comes down like a roller coaster track and hits water. I mean, one time we went up to Canopy Lake strictly so my parents could get clam chowder. And they weren't the only ones. A lot of people went up there just for that, from down here. There was also a place up there that they had great food. I'm not a clam person, but they had great food. It was just, it was like a little giant screened-in porch type place. It was a summer place up in New Hampshire. I don't remember the name of it now, but that we found one day on a ride, and we'd heard about it. My parents had heard about it from someone, so we went looking for it. We found it, and man, oh man, they had great food, great service, just great people, and yeah, those are the kinds of things we did. We would just take a ride. My parents tried to take me to the Boston Science Center once, the Boston Science Museum. They couldn't find it. It was hilarious. We drove around and drove around. And I was like, okay, or the Boston Children's Museum, something like that. At any rate, we never found it. Oh my gosh. I've been to the Worcester Science Center a million times, which they now call the Ecotarium. And of course, the zoo. You know, I had a good life. Were there things that I would rather have zapped from my memory in a way? Yeah, but not really. You know, I'm falling down below you. There we go. Not really, though. I mean, because everything's a part of my life, even the bad stuff. Are there things I regret? Absolutely. From my childhood? Absolutely. One of them was not going on the train ride with my class in third grade. The reason I didn't do that, I was afraid in such close quarters, being stuck on a big train, which scared me anyway, for hours and hours with my class, and we were going to eat and everything, that I would be picked on mercilessly with nowhere to go. I remember being outside playing that day, looking toward the school and being sad, you know, that I couldn't go. Mount Monadnock, on the other hand, I knew I couldn't climb up there. My doctor wouldn't have allowed it, so did not go on that trip. But yeah, I mean, it's not like I didn't have, you know, I've told you about being picked on and stuff like that, but it's not like I didn't have some fun times, because I did, you know. And Whalom Park is a precious memory for me. It no longer exists. It's now condos. But that song I played you will just live in my mind. Hopefully I don't get dinged for a jingle, but I shouldn't. The Whalom Park history people are so cool. They want to build a new one somewhere in the same area. It will never be the same, but you know, if they could make it nostalgic, you know, with some of the pieces that they have from the original park, it might work. Those of us who grew up there would have loved to have taken our kids, you know. I'm trying to think. What year did they close? Hold on. Okay. The year 2000. Okay. They closed in the year 2000. They were open from 1893. They had a skating rink there, which I never knew. And one thing you'll see, there's a show on PBS about old amusement parks in New England, and Whalom Park is among them. And it was still open at that time, at the time that they made it. And people talked about the skating rink and how a lot of them had their first dates at the skating rink, and a lot of them worked at the skating rink, the people that lived in the local area. Matter of fact, my friend Brandon lives in Lunenburg. And I said, Whalom Park, you know? And he said, yeah, he said we wanted to have, his wife and him wanted to have their first date there. But unfortunately it closed. So they've been together a while. So it didn't work out. But for nostalgia's sake, they wanted to have their first date there. And I think that's cool. She's actually an awesome girl. And I am truly lucky that, I don't know why some of them say Leominster, but like Facebook says Leominster. Why? Oh. Oh, because that's where the museum is. That's where the museum is. newwhalom.com. I'll make sure that I put that in the description. newwhalom.com. It's called the New Whalom Cooperative. Oh my gosh, I remember that ride too. Anyway, so I will link that in the description for those of you not in the area that might not have ever heard of it. I'm going to read that. Actually, I'll throw it in my favorites. Boop. Bookmark. Done. So yeah, I'll put that in the description so you can get a feel for the place yourself. And the nostalgia, you know. Like I said, these other parks also hold a lot of nostalgia, but for me, it's Whalom, and it always will be. Thank you for watching this video and walking down memory lane with me. I hope it was fun for you. I hope you enjoyed seeing the pictures. I know it was fun for me. And it's wonderful, happy memories with my mom and dad when, unfortunately, neither one of them are here anymore. And neither is the park I spent many happy hours with them in. Eating fried bread dough and playing games on the midway and riding kiddie rides. And love fried bread dough. My mother used to make it. My favorite way to have it is just split it and put butter on it. I wasn't a big put a bunch of sugar on it, although that was good too. I liked it hot with butter. You know what I should do? I should buy frozen bread dough, thaw it out, and make fried bread dough. That's what my mother used to do. The only times I wasn't allowed in her kitchen, when she made donuts, fried bread dough, or French fries, because she had an open pot of hot oil. Well, I have an air fryer. I'm sure I can make fried bread dough in the air fryer. So, but I'll get back to you on that, and we'll have a nostalgia night making fried bread dough in the air fryer. And you can come along. So, thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you. Please click that little red subscribe button. It's free. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.